Wow. Hi, my name is Toni Chapman, and we are in the New York Times Cooking Studio kitchen. Today, we are going to be making some sticky pineapple ribs. This is an incredible recipe, and I can't wait to do it. So I'm Puerto Rican, so I grew up eating a ton of pork. And a lot of the times people put pork on the grill, and they can overcook it, they can be dry. So I really love braising pork because I find that you have a lot more control. And I love braising in pineapple juice because I find that for some proteins, it really helps with tenderizing while adding this sweetness that's just really nice. So these ribs are going to be juicy and mouth-watering. They're gonna have some umami, some sweetness, and it's shareable. I love eating it with friends and family. If you're not leaving a rib session with your fingers all messed up and licking them all up, you're not doing it right. So I have a rack of St. Louis cut ribs, and we're gonna cut these ribs into individual pieces. So when I'm cutting my ribs, I like to hold them just like this. That way, it's easy for me to find the joints and feel the bones. You can use St. Louis cut, you can use baby back. Now, St. Louis cut is going to have a little bit more fat, which I like because it's great with braising and building flavor, but get what you have on hand. And also too, you can get ribs that are already cut, especially when we're hosting and we're serving. We want the ribs to have a nice clean cut. These look gorgeous, this is what we're going for. So towards the end, I'm just gonna cut normal because I don't have enough to kind of like hold it up. So there's this piece of meat that's right here that may be at the end of your rib, maybe not, depending on how you get them cut. But I like to keep that. All that extra meat is totally fine because you'll get to a point where there's no more bones and you can still include those. So you'll have like these big kind of what I call janky looking ribs at the end, but they're still super delicious. So now we're gonna start our seasoning and our searing step. So if your ribs have any extra moisture, this is where you're gonna wanna pat them dry just to make sure they get a really nice sear. I'm gonna create a little seasoning blend, so I'm gonna go in with some onion powder, some garlic powder. I'm gonna use some smoked paprika. That's gonna give it like a really nice depth of flavor. We're gonna use some kosher salt, and then we're gonna use some pepper. And we're gonna mix that up into a small bowl. We're gonna take our ribs and we're gonna place them in a large bowl. And I'm just gonna season. And when I season, I like to like move the ribs around a little bit. That way I'm making sure that every rib gets a little bit of love. You don't wanna neglect any of the ribs. You have a good amount of seasoning here, so you'll have more than enough. And the seasoning is instrumental because it's not just gonna help with flavor, it's gonna help develop that beautiful, nice crust and sear that's gonna give you like that barbecue feel, even though you braised it, right? I'm old school, we're gonna use our hands. If you want, you're gonna give them a nice toss and just make sure all that seasoning is distributed. Oh my goodness, the combination of all those spices smells so good. All right, so now is one of my favorite parts. We are gonna sear these ribs. This is gonna give it a beautiful color. So you're gonna use about 2 tablespoons or more, depending on the surface area of the searing vessel that you're using. If it's bigger, use a little bit more oil. If it's smaller, you go less. Just eyeball it. You do need to use something that has depth though, because we're gonna be braising, and you wanna braise in the same vessel that you sear in, so that all that flavor, the crust on the bottom is gonna help it. So we're gonna sear these things. I hear a nice little sizzle. You may need to sear in batches depending on how large your cooking vessel is, but you don't wanna overcrowd the pan. So I'm gonna do about 5 ribs at a time. And I'm gonna sear them. Oh, it smells so good in here already. You smell that? It's nice, right? You know, I really love the art of slow cooking. I love this. There's nothing else better. Building flavor from the bottom to the top is something I'm so passionate about. I think it's something that every home cook should learn. All right, these are gonna sear for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. You wanna watch them though, because you don't want it to burn. The reason that you wanna sear and why that's so important, especially for this recipe, is because you're gonna get this really nice crust. All of that flavor at the bottom of the pot is instrumental in your sauce. Beyond that, it's good for color. So we want the dishes that we make to look beautiful. And when they have a nice sear on them, they just look elevated. They look like restaurant level. Look at that. It's shimmering, it's beautiful, it's nice and brown. This process will take you about 10 to 15 minutes as you do it in batches. So this is usually the time where I have a rum punch. All right, so look at that, absolutely beautiful. They should be golden and beautifully brown. You'll see that crust that's developed. And we're gonna remove these now. We're replicating a barbecue feel, but you're not barbecuing, you're braising. So it's totally fine if you get a little char, but you do wanna watch your heat because you don't want the bottom of the pot to burn. That's really important because then that may impact the flavor of your braise and the flavor of your sauce. All right, so my favorite part. We are gonna build this delicious sauce, and I can't even believe how incredible this sauce is because there's so few ingredients. We're gonna go in to this delicious base. There's gonna be some fat there that has released from the ribs, so that's gonna be what you're gonna sear your onions in, and then we're gonna add some smashed garlic. We're gonna let this cook for about 2 to 3 minutes just so that those flavors have an opportunity to release a little bit before we're gonna add our liquid. Sometimes I just take a piece of the onion and eat it. I am a savage in the kitchen. Alrighty, we're gonna take some pineapple juice. I like to use canned pineapple juice. The reason that I like canned is because it's actually pasteurized, so it's already reached a high heat so that the texture is a little bit more syrupy. We're trying to build this sticky sauce that's really nice with rice for our ribs, so the canned stuff is the best. But if you only have the organic glass stuff, that's fine too. I have some soy sauce, that nice umami flavor, and your salt kind of enhancer, so that's gonna be really nice. We're gonna take some apple cider vinegar, and I love apple with pork. It just pairs so nicely. And you only need a little bit to really taste the impact. The pronunciation, Worcestershire. Worcestershire. On my channel, I say Worcestershire sauce. I'm gonna take some Worcestershire sauce, and we're gonna mix that up. I like to let this cook for a couple minutes just so that all of those flavors can kind of come together, right? So just let this cook for, I would say, 2 to 3 minutes. I'm in like garlic, umami, pineapple, onion heaven right now. And I'm gonna now return my ribs back into the pot. Now, it's totally fine if the ribs are kind of on top of each other. They get smaller as they cook, 1. And 2, you have enough liquid to make it work. So just squeeze them in there, make them fit. We're gonna go ahead and put this in the oven and cook it at 300 degrees, low and slow, for about 1 hour and 45 to 2 hours. And when we come back, it's gonna be delicious. Our ribs have been cooking for 1 hour. And so what we're gonna do here is just kind of move them around, just so that every rib gets a little bit of that lovin'. We're gonna go ahead and cover it, and then we're gonna let it cook for another hour. All right, so now we have our swap here. These ribs have been cooking for about 2 hours, and they are tender, but the bone is still intact, which is really important. Now, if you see, we have this beautiful reserved braising liquid at the bottom, and we used a cooking vessel that's a little deeper, and the ribs came out perfectly fine. Now, I wanna show you this rib. I gotta do it. They've been sitting here for a minute. Look, they're super tender, but the bone is intact. That's important. You do not want your ribs to be completely falling off the bone. I know that that's an expression we like to use, and while these are super tender, it's just a better eating experience when it's on the bone. Okay, we're gonna start working on our delicious sticky sauce. So we're gonna put everything in together. Our brown sugar, some ketchup, and we're gonna put some honey, mix everything together. You wanna keep the heat kind of like low medium because you want to develop kind of like this syrupy, sugary, kind of like glazy sauce, but you don't want it to burn. So I like to let this simmer for a couple minutes and let it do its thing. And you know it's ready when it coats the back of a spoon and it's super syrupy. So now we're gonna put our ribs on a rack-lined baking sheet. That way we can get a really nice brush on them. So now we're left with a little bit of this delicious sauce at the bottom. You're gonna keep this, you're not gonna throw this away. This is absolutely incredible. It's gonna be nice to spoon over any sides, rice, mashed potatoes, couscous, whatever you have, and it's gonna complement the glaze really well. I am going to use a brush and I'm just gonna add the sauce to the ribs. You wanna take your time here and make sure all parts are glazed. So I'll move the rib around and make sure that it's glazed on every side. And already they just look so incredibly beautiful. Once they're caramelized, they'll look like something out of a magazine, truly. It smells amazing in here. It's taking every ounce of self-respect that I have not to just bite one right now in front of everyone. But I will wait. How you know that they're fully coated is when you have no sauce left. So if you still have sauce, keep kind of moving them around and get on all sides, or add more to the ones you already have. You know, no sauce gets left behind. We're gonna let these cook at 400 degrees for 5 to 7 minutes. Stay close so you don't want them to burn. Alrighty, so as you see, our ribs have caramelized. Ooh, wow, look. They're beautiful and shimmering. They've caramelized. The color is beautiful, but you still see that they're saucy. The jasmine rice and the slaw, they're not a part of the recipe, but you can add whatever sides make sense for you. All right, so that reserve sauce that I told you guys about, which is literally priceless, it's so delicious. I'm gonna take some right from the pot. Yes, that's how we do it. And I'm gonna spoon it, oh my goodness. Wow. I'm gonna spoon it over the rice. This is my favorite part. And if you want, you can even put some over the rib. Like, I mean, it's just extra flavor that we're building on top. All right, so now my favorite part, and the part that I've been waiting for the past hours, is to try this delicious rib. So we're gonna do a taste test. Let's see. Wow. I mean, it's so soft, but it's still on the bone, which is nice. Unreal. I'm gonna need some privacy for this, guys. This is so good. It pairs really nicely with the jasmine rice and with some of that reserve sauce. Look at how like soft they are. The sauce has so much flavor. I mean, I can even taste some of that apple cider vinegar. It's comforting and cozy, but it's not heavy, and it didn't take too much work. So this one is super special, or as I like to say, a banger. You can find this recipe and many more at nytcooking.com.